Well, this is an election that has occupied airwaves and interest here in Russia, not just on polling day itself, but for weeks beforehand as well. And you can bet that the Kremlin will be watching this and paying very close attention as well. No real pro-Kremlin contenders in this election, but nonetheless, Moscow will be looking for change if possible, looking for a candidate who will advance dialogue with Moscow, perhaps even engage in direct talks with Moscow, or at the very least to not put up as much of a challenge in those conflicts with Russia in eastern Ukraine, for example, in Crimea and in the Black Sea, which has become a hot point in recent months as well. The question of whether Ukraine should be broadly pro-European or pro-Russian has not been as central an issue in this election as it has been in previous elections in previous years. In Ukraine, all three of these candidates are seen as broadly pro-European, pro-NATO. For example, the one with the angriest rhetoric is the incumbent Poroshenko, who is seen as likely to continue the state of conflict with Russia. He's been speaking in his campaign about continuing that challenge against Russia. So Moscow really looking for some change there if possible, but I think with any of these three candidates, the chance of significant change to the dynamic between Moscow and Kiev may be unlikely. Over the past few weeks, we've heard from commentators and lawmakers expressing their concerns with the votes in Ukraine, complaining, for example, that Russian observers were not allowed in to witness the election in Ukraine, complaining that Ukrainians who live here in Russia were not allowed to cast their votes from here. One lawmaker last week even submitted a bill which would declare this result invalid, submitting that bill before this election had even taken place. Lucy Taylor, CGTN in Moscow.